Good morning. When we're young, growing up, many of us are taught the Ten Commandments. And in the beginning, it just feels like this big, long list of shouts and shout-nots that are there to spoil our fun and cramp our style. But actually, it's actually a guideline from the Maker, from the one who put us together. It's a handbook that tells us that if we follow these recommendations and don't venture in this area, we're probably going to be okay. Our lives will be more peaceful, and our engines, spiritual and otherwise, will be running more efficiently, more smoothly. When we think of the commandments, the second commandment is honoring, respecting, not taking in vain the name of God. And there's a power that we have over someone, a relative power, when we know their name. When I used to teach teenagers at the beginning of the year, when I didn't quite know the students, I would go around during the social period before class started and get to know them and find out which kids grouped with who and who hung out with what, and perhaps see some of the kids that might need extra attention during the year, so that when class started and maybe they were talking out of turn or gossiping to each other on the side or talking while I was talking, I knew their names, right? So I could call them out a little and say, "Hey, John, you in the back, hey." And he'd go, "How'd you know my name?" "Okay, all right, I can conform." So the name is a gift. When we know someone's name, we can call on them. They respond. There's an exchange that takes place that doesn't happen if I don't know their name. Years ago, when Moses first learned the name of God, he learned it from a burning bush. The bush was burning, and Moses didn't know what was going on. And the voice came forward from the bush talking to Moses, right? It's a little bit of Hollywood here. And Moses said, "Who are you?" And the voice says, "I am who am." "I am in the past," says the voice. "I am in the present," says the voice. "And in the future, I am as well." There's only one being that could say that, identify himself as that, and that's God. And Moses knew it. Talking to God was really an amazing experience and pretty profound. God gives us the knowledge of God's name as well. Gives us the permission, the freedom, the ability to call on God's name. And when we know that name, right, there is a certain responsiveness. It's not like we're whistling in the dark or keeping our fingers crossed or saying, "Do I got the right name?" God's done that self-introduction. So the commandment reminds us that we treat that relationship and that name with amazing respect and love. We don't throw it around like we would throw around anything else. That name stands for this deep, ongoing, eternal connection to the world, to the planet, and to my soul. So my ability to respond to that relationship goes hand in hand with my respect for the name. So Moses learns the name of God when he asks God, "Who are you?" Today, ask God, "Who are you? What's your name? What shall I call you?" So that you know that when you do call, and God's given permission, right, that we can, that the name that we call God is one filled with wonder and awe and deep love, a name that changes for us as we grow. Just like nicknames change for people that we love, so our name for God changes too. Yet that name is always one that we hold in the highest regard.